Hello, everyone. Hello, and welcome to this episode of PEPTalk, Productive Environment Podcast. Glad you're here. Today, we are talking about capture it or lose it. What does that mean? And Dan, I see your comment. Dan B is here. So glad you're here, Dan. Glad you're joining in with us from Portland, Oregon. Yeah, awesome. Glad you're here, Dan. Who else is here? Let us know in the comments, wherever you're joining us from, who's here. I am going to be asking you guys some questions. I love interaction. So if you're able to comment, and I believe if you're on YouTube, in order to comment, you have to be logged in as a YouTube user. So try to do that if you're able to. And wherever you're joining in from, try to connect and comment as you're able. Okay. So let's talk about something today that I think many of us experience. Okay. Capture it or lose it. What do I mean by that? First, I am Andrea Anderson. I'm CEO of Productive Environment Institute here in Carolina Beach, North Carolina. And I work with Barbara Hemphill, founder of Productive Environment Institute. So let's go ahead and chat for a minute. Let me remove that image and just talk to you guys. So as you know, and I've said this before, if you've joined us before, you've heard me say this, that information comes to us from multiple directions, right? You might get a message on your voicemail. You might get an email. You might get something in the mail. You might even get a note tacked to your front door, or a sticky note on your front door, or an envelope on your front. You might have a conversation with someone and they say, oh, write this down, right? There's lots of different ways that information comes to us. And then what happens to it? When you think of it and you need it, you might think, oh, I know I wrote that down somewhere, or I know I put that envelope somewhere, or, oh, I had a great idea. Where did I put it? Right? So I'd like to hear from you guys, wherever you're joining in from, to comment and let me know where things are coming to you from, what different locations. And then now we're going to talk about what you do with it and how you capture it so that you're not rushing and running around. A lot of our time, we talk about time management a lot. A lot of our time is spent looking for lost information, right? Like, where did I put that? Where is that? And so maybe you have multiple locations that you put things. For example, maybe you have a notebook. I am really a big fan of having one single spiral notebook at a time. And I actually have it to my right, where I would just jot down something. It could be a quick something I heard on a phone call or something I heard on a webinar, and I would just jot it down there, right? So that is one of my capture tools, is a notebook, all right? Some of you are sticky note people. How many of you are sticky note people? Put it in the chat or the comments. Who loves sticky notes? And you end up with sticky notes all over the place, right? Okay, maybe they're all over the house. Maybe they're all over your condo, all over your home. Maybe you've got some in your car and you're a sticky note person. Is that a bad thing? Not necessarily. If that's your MO, if that's your what you like, and that's what you do. Like Barbara says, it's not what should you do, it's what will you do. And if you are a spur of the moment, jot this down real quick. I don't have time to go in and grab my notebook, so let me just jot it on a sticky note. Maybe you have sticky notes in your bathroom or index cards or anything like that. So yeah, and let's see, Dan says yes, but not sure I love it. Okay, I assume you're referring to the sticky notes, Dan. Yeah. So I will share, well, when I get to it, remind me, Eds, if I don't say it, remind me in the private chat to share the story about the sticky notes. Okay, I do have a good story about the sticky notes. So stay tuned for that. All right. And then other places that we might keep something, that we might capture something coming in and we keep it maybe in our email. Maybe it's in our inbox. If you have thousands of emails in your inbox, you're using your inbox is already a capture location, but you're holding on to emails so that you can go back to them and process them and do something with them. So your email inbox can become overloaded with things. So that is a capture location. Another location are text messages. Maybe you get text messages. Well, not maybe. Most people get text messages on their phone. Messenger apps. We personally, within PEI, we use an app called Telegram. Other people use like Facebook Messenger or WhatsApp, or I mean, there's a bunch. So those are also locations that information comes into you, right? And maybe you promise someone in Telegram or you promise someone in Facebook Messenger or WhatsApp, oh yeah, I'll send that to you. Oh yeah, I'll get that document to you tomorrow. But then you leave that app and your day goes on and you forgot all about it. So that is something that we want to address today. And, another place, I know Demetrius uses his iPhone notes. That's his capture place. So if you have an iPhone, there's a notes app on there. And that notes app, pro tip, actually does a lot more than you might know. Some of you may be hardcore notes app users, but there's a lot in the Apple Notes tool itself. But it is a capture place. You can make grocery lists there. You can add a quote there that you heard. There's lots of different ways that you could do it with the iPhone Notes. AI conversations. That's another place that information comes in. You're capturing it, but what happens to it after? I mean, hopefully it's still there. Ideally, it's still in there, but you may forget the key words, or you can't get back to it. You forgot. So that is a location that information comes to you. And then what? Then what? All right. And a simple piece of paper is another place. Somebody might hand you something, or you get something out of the mail and you've got a piece of paper. Where does that go? You can't put that in your Apple Notes. You can't put that piece of paper in your, you can't put that piece of paper in a sticky note. You might put a sticky note on the piece of paper, but then what? So then what do? And then, of course, there's our good old memory, right? Oh, I'll just remember this. I'll remember where this is, or I'll remember this information. Yeah, that doesn't work out so well, does it? So the problem often begins when we try to organize, before we try to organize the information. It begins when we don't have a dependable way to capture it, okay? So if you saw our pep talk last week, we talked about what are you organizing for? What are you getting organized for? Okay. And whatever that is, it could be for helping, someone organize their medical information. It could be for because you want to write a book. It could be for because you're a coach and you want to have all your information together so you could teach it to someone else. There's lots of reasons for. And this week we are going to start the SOAR journey. So SOAR means systemize and organize with action and reference. Wrote the book, SOAR to Success by Mastering the Art of Organizing Information to Finally Get Things Done. Okay, so the art of organizing information. We're going to talk about that in a few minutes. But before we organize the information, we have to capture it in a consistent way. Okay. So I'm going to go through what kinds of information we might be capturing. Okay. And I want you guys to add to this list. If I don't say something that you think is relevant, please add it in the comments or the chat. Okay. So what information, and it's not just tasks. Okay. It is tasks and open loops. Somebody you need to get back to. Appointments, ideas, notes, just general note information, right? Taking notes on something, contact information, paper, digital documents, emails, information generated through AI, which I touched on already, which is actually increasing by the minute, and reference material for later. Okay. So I want to know from you, what possible sources does information enter into your life? I know that Barbara was working with our tool that we call the SOAR Board. SOAR meaning systemize and organize with action and reference. And that is her and my main place. Like we have an inbox inside the SOAR Board. It's our main place for, and I'm going to show you guys in a few minutes. It's our main place for capturing information digitally. Now, it's not going to capture a piece of paper. We need an inbox on our desk that captures paper, right? Paper, mail, and so forth. So Barbara was wanting to put everything, which I recommend, was wanting to put everything from all of the different sources into her inbox in the SOAR Board. So we want you to have, we recommend that you have one source of truth that has, that you might use different tools to capture things, but then it all comes into one place. And she determined that she had 7 places, 7 or 8, I believe, and maybe more now, as she's been working with it, that she needed to check and extract things from. So if you really think about that, you need to check your email, check your messenger apps, check other areas where information, and maybe you have multiple messenger apps. If you're in a course or you're part of another program, they have their own messaging app, and we do as well. We have a system called the Productive Environment Network. And inside that network is a private messaging app between us and our clients, our members. So that's a location that needs to be checked, right? So possible sources of information coming to you are phone calls, text messages, messengers, as I mentioned, email, mail, conversations, meetings, social media, AI, and then your own thoughts and ideas. Where does that go? Okay, so let's talk about what, when I say systemize, which is the S in SOAR, systemize the capture of information. I'm not saying you need to use our tool or you need to use one specific tool. You can capture in multiple ways, but then what happens to it? Where does it go? Okay, so it does not mean everything, as I just mentioned, it doesn't mean everything must enter within one tool. It means that you have made clear decisions about, one, where different kinds of information will be captured. You may be using a combination of a notebook, sticky notes, phone notes, where you will look for them, when you will process them, and then what happens next. Okay, does that make sense? A physical inbox can capture paper. Your phone can capture an idea while you're away from your desk, right? Your email inbox receives email messages. The SOAR Board inbox can capture tasks, projects, and open loops. And the goal is to have a small number of trusted entry points, not information scattered everywhere. Okay, so if you struggle with the thought of where did I put that or where's that, and you find yourself searching for information, then this definitely, it will help you to kind of minimize the places. If you've got 25 places now that information is coming in, or you're capturing on a note, or you're capturing in your phone, like minimize that down, consolidate that down to a handful. Okay. So an idea away from your desk might be iPhone notes or voice capture. How many of you guys use voice captures? Okay, I like using voice capture. A piece of paper would go in your physical inbox, as we mentioned. An email requiring some thought might go into your email action folder. We teach to use action, reference, and toss in our email as well. And a task or an open loop we would put in our SOAR Board inbox. Okay. The tool can vary. What matters is having a system that answers 2 questions. Okay. Where do I capture this? And what happens to it next? Where do I capture and what happens to it next? And I'm going to demonstrate, I'm going to try to demonstrate that process in the SOAR Board. So this is the section of the pep talk called See It on the SOAR Board. So I'm going to share how that you might capture things inside the SOAR Board. Okay. And then what to do with them. I'm not going to go deep into the demo, but I'm just going to show you the basics. So give me just a second and I will share my screen. I'm going to share the SOAR board. This is my demo board. Okay. So I already have, you'll see that it is actually in 3 columns. We have an inbox, which is what I'm talking about today. And then we have an action section and a reference section. Okay. And I already have preloaded this with a few items in the inbox. And it's a simple way to capture something now. So this could be as easy as call Barbara. Oh, wait, you know what? It's Renee's birthday. I'm going to say call Renee and wish her a happy birthday. If I could spell. So, all right. Renee is one of our dear clients, our dear members. And Renee, if you're listening, happy birthday. All right. So I just added that to my SOAR board. All right. So now they're here. They are in place. I've captured them. So I can safely move on, right? I can safely go and do other things. But that's not enough. Then you have to make a decision about what happens next. Okay. So I'm not teaching how this works. I'm just going to show you how we do it in the SOAR board. So the first one here is call Susan about the proposal. Now in our book, SOAR to Success, the art of organizing information, art is action, reference, or toss. So this tool actually kind of forces you to follow that. So I'm going to click on the task. And now I say, is this an action? Is this a reference? Or is this a toss? This is clearly an action. So I'm going to click action and I'm going to call Susan today. Now it's moved from the inbox and it's over here under today. See how easy that was? All right, dentist appointment Thursday at 10. So we captured that. So I'm going to click on it. That is an action. And I'm going to pick a date. And that date is Thursday right here. I'm going to click add to board. And now that's over here under this week. There it is. So it will rise up on the day of, on August 20th. It's going to rise up to today. So that is captured and a decision has been made about it. All right. So this one is not a task. This one is an idea for a future PEPTalk episode. And let's say the idea is decluttering email inbox. Okay. So I have a couple of options here. This is something that I want to save for future reference at this point. And the only decision I need to make before I move it is how do I want it captured? How do I want it saved? It's reference. So if I'm going to click on reference digital over here and it's alphabetical. So if I want to save this under ideas, I can just go ahead and do it. It's going to save it under I for ideas. Okay. If I want to save it under PEPTalk, I would just put PEPTalk first. I would put a P at the beginning if I want it saved under P. Okay. I'm just going to leave it saved under ideas. So I'm going to click it. I'm going to click reference and I'm going to say reference digital. And now it's gone from my inbox and it's over here under I for idea. So when I sit down to start working on something on my PEPTalk episodes, I can just come up here and do a search for idea. And it's going to pull this up and any other ideas that I have filed as well. Easy peasy. All right. Article about organizing AI information. I'm just going to keep it simple. There's the link to the article and I'm just going to leave it under A for article. And it could also be A for AI. So I'm just going to leave it just like that. I'm going to click it, reference digital. And now here it is under A, article. I click on it and there's the link I need. All right, super easy. Call Renee and wish her a happy birthday. Her birthday is today. So I'm going to click on it and I'm going to say action and I'm going to say today. Now I have just cleared my inbox. That's how easy that was. So I may have captured all of these things in other tools, but eventually they made their way into my SOAR board inbox. And then I made the first sorts, initial decisions. Is this action? Is this reference? Or is this toss? And I actually went a step further and said, is this action? If it's an action, when? Okay. If it's a reference, how do I want to find it? So now it is over there in our reference system. Okay. So those are the basics of using the SOAR board as a tool to help you capture your information. And I can use this on my computer, on my phone. I can speak into it on my phone as well, actually on my computer as well. And then I make the decision. So it comes here first, and then we make the decision about what happens next. So let me stop that share, and I will come back to you guys over here. Okay, so Kathy says, let's see, Kathy Music Coaching. I like that new rebrand, Kathy. Each determined location should have a specific purpose to help you narrow down where to look for the information. Exactly. So each determined location should have a specific purpose to help you narrow down where to look for that information. Yep, good. So again, we have multiple places that information is coming in. How are we going to find it? Like we always say in PEI, instead of saying, how should I file this? We say, how will I find this? Okay, so if you're writing down, if you're taking notes, write that down. Instead of how should I file this, ask, how will I find this? Okay, and we have, of course, our proprietary system for organizing paper to help you find anything that you file in seconds. That is part of our SOAR program. It is also addressed in the book. So if you don't have this book, go to Amazon, or Ed's had the link up here. Get the book. We explain the finding system. We call it a finding system versus a filing system. Okay. So I want to just go back to what I talked about in the last pep talk is, what are you organizing for? What's the big picture of your life and where you are in your life right now? What is the benefit of organization for you? Many of our members are retired. They may have retired with a lot of information. They may be caring for an elderly parent, and or they have a lot of clutter, a lot of paper clutter, a lot of stuff, and they do not want to leave that for their children, their adult children. Most of them have adult children. So yeah, if that is your goal, if that is your purpose for organizing, then I encourage you to create a system. Find a system. You can use our system. We invite you to become part of our community, and we will teach you our system. And then we will actually help you set up your system and implement your system. And that's what our SOAR to Success program does. It's like, yeah, you can go to workshop. Thank you, Eds. Workshop.productiveenvironment.com. That's a great point of entry. And actually, Eds, if you'll put up the other one, there's a free training video at lesscluttermorelife.com. You can go check, if you're new to our community, go check out that video. So no matter what you're organizing for, it is helpful to know why. Like if you find yourself saying to us or to friends, or if you meet a professional organizer and you say, oh, I need you, or, oh, I really need to take care of this stuff, then that's why, we invite you to work with us, because it is not easy to do on your own. Can you take the book and do it on your own? You could. Can you make your own pizza at home? You could, but people still order Domino's and Pizza Hut and delivery, right? So it is much easier to do together. And then once you do it, organization doesn't just happen once. You want to keep it up. You want to keep it going. So that's how we work together. Okay. So I do have some homework for you. A couple of points I want to make. And hold on, Ed sent me a message. Sticky note story. Thank you, Ed. Okay. Sticky note story. All right. So we had a client, a couple, actually, they were a team, and they are missionaries. They may actually be listening. So hello, guys. And I was teaching them, it was way before the SOAR board, and I was teaching them my one notebook strategy. And for me, I like spiral. I just want to keep everything all there. I take scribble notes, I date it, and then I figure out where that task or whatever note I wrote down, where it goes next. But my capture tool was the notebook, just the single individual notebook. Okay, so she was trying to do that and she loved the idea. She went out and got a notebook and it was working great. Her husband, however, did not want to have to go find the notebook every time he wanted to write something down. Every time he had an idea or remember a task he needed to do, he liked sticky notes. He had them all over the house. And so she was like, how can I get him to write it down in a one place? You know, we could share the notebook or he could have his own. How can I get him to do that? I can't get him to do that. He won't do it. He won't leave the sticky notes. So we said, okay, let's not try to force him to stop doing something that he likes to do and it comes naturally to him. So we, quote, allowed him to continue writing on the sticky notes. The problem with that obviously came to, where did I put that? Or, oh, I forgot. Or, you know, if the sticky notes just stayed scattered everywhere, that wasn't really helpful. He captured the information, but it just stayed there in the sticky note. So then we said, okay, let's allow him to keep capturing notes with the sticky notes. And then maybe once a week, maybe more, maybe less, but at least once a week, the wife would go around the house and grab all the sticky notes from the office, from the bathroom, from the kitchen, and she would bring them together and she would stick them on a couple of pages in the notebook. And then that way she could review and say, oh, this is a task that we need to do that he thought of when he was cooking. Or this is a person we need to follow up with. And so she would grab the sticky notes and organize them in the book. And then it was a place where she could grab, if he had quotes, things he thought of for teaching, then she would be able to pull them out and put them in the teaching folder, right? So it was just a wonderful way to solve that issue. And I hope, I haven't checked in on them. I need to check in on them and find out. Eds, make a note for me to check in on the sticky note couple and see if they're still using it and how it's working. But they were thrilled when we came up with that plan. So if you are in a similar situation, that may be something that you try. Okay. So I want to just make a couple of points before I wrap up. We talked about different types of inboxes, different types of places to capture information: a physical inbox for paper, email inbox, computer file inbox, SOAR Board inbox, right? Each receives information temporarily. It is not supposed to just stay there, okay? You need to know what's going to happen next. And we'll get to that with, some of our videos, but I just want you to keep that in mind. The inbox is temporary, okay? And we have another client. I was laughing last week. She shared that, she's probably listening too, that she was so proud of herself because she was putting things in her inbox. And then she was even making the decision, if it was a task, of when that task was going to happen. And so she put it in the action section of what date it was going to happen on. And then she said she felt so proud of herself for doing that. But then she realized, oh, I have to actually now come back and do the task. So we could get so caught up in the system of capturing the information and then putting it in the inbox, putting it in, in the task section or the next section. And then we were like, yay, we're done. We did it. But we didn't really actually go back and do it. So that's another step that happens. It's like, okay, when am I going to sit down with my list and actually process it and go through and take the action? That is one of the best parts of our SOAR to Success program, because we meet as a group every Tuesday and every Friday. And if action has not been taken on those things during the week, they have dedicated time with the group to actually take the action. We do some teaching, everybody goes on mute, and things get done. So if you are out there by yourself and you're like, oh, I have the best of intentions, I really need to do this, but it's not happening, then I invite you to join us and work together. We call it co-working sessions because we're co-workers. We work together. Okay. So the information comes into your capture place. And then the next three questions you ask is this an action? Is this a reference? Or is this a toss? That is the art of organizing information, the art of organizing paper, the art of organizing email, the art of organizing text messages, and you name it, is the art of organizing whatever. Okay, so I've got an assignment for you as I wrap up. And let's see what Kathy said. Often when I capture a task, I put the date of capture in the note as well. This is a reality check of how long it's been hanging around. Exactly. Yep, that is fabulous. Yep, that's a good point. It's like if we talk about this, Barbara's quote, clutter is postponed decisions, right? And then we make a decision of when we're going to do something, but then we don't do it on that day. And so then we say, okay, re-decide. Don't just leave it there. Re-decide. Say, okay, I didn't do it on the day I thought I was going to do it. So let me re-decide when I'm going to do it. And if you find yourself moving that over and over and over, then that may be an indication that it really is not a priority for you. And that's okay. So that's Kathy's point of adding a date to the task. Is like, okay, I've been moving the same task for 3 months. Is it really a priority? And if not, it is taking up your time, your space, and your energy every time you look at it and have to redecide. So maybe it's not as important as you thought it was. Okay. Now, if you have no problem with moving it and just keep moving it and keep moving it, and you've got your reasons, that's fine too. That is fine too. It's up to you. All right. So here are 5 things I want you guys to do. This is your homework. 5 things. And when I say homework, I want you to join us on our Substack for the after party. There will be an article related to this topic posted either today or tomorrow. There's our Substack, theproductiveenvironment.substack.com, and we will continue this conversation over there. So what would make me super happy is if you would come over there and answer these 5 questions once we post that article. Number 1, identify every place where information comes in. Okay, that's your first step. Number 2, identify every place where you currently capture information. Okay. Number 3, eliminate or combine unnecessary capture points. So maybe you have a lot going on and you can actually downsize a few of those points. If not, that's okay too. Choose one trusted place for capturing tasks and open loops this week. Okay, so maybe that is a notebook. Maybe that's a task manager that you're already using, or maybe it's the SOAR board. Okay, choose one trusted place for capturing tasks and open loops this week. Open loops, that's like having a bunch of computer tabs open on your computer. It takes a lot of your computer's resources. Okay, so if you have a lot of open loops in your head, that's using up your resources. So let's get those documented. And then number 5, schedule a time to process what you have captured. Okay, so if you've captured in 3 or 4 different locations, you want to sit down and you want to put them in one place and process them. Okay. And then that's kind of where is this an action? Is this a reference, or is this a toss? Okay. So you don't need the perfect app or the perfect notebook. You need a capture system that you trust and a clear process for deciding what happens next. We would love to help you with that. So today I've shown you how captured information can eventually move through the complete SOAR system, which we'll go a little deeper on later on, but you don't have to build the whole system at once. This is a great place to start. And as Ed had posted earlier, you can put it back up, Ed's, the SOAR into Action workshop introduces the art of organizing information and guides you through the first sort. And what is the first sort? It's gathering up all of those things that we've captured and then deciding, is this an action? Is this a reference? Or is this a toss? That is the first sort. So you can begin making those decisions without trying to organize everything at once, because then that could be overwhelming. Okay. So watching this video creates awareness. Implementation creates change. So if you have been wanting to make changes and get your stuff organized and get things in order and stop feeling like you're, running around like a chicken with your head chopped off, then let's implement. Let's implement together. We would love to work with you. So workshop.productiveenvironment.com, and we will absolutely be sending out a message about Substack. So In fact, Eds, put Less Clutter, More Life back up there again. Because if you go to if you're not in our system yet, go to lesscluttermorelife.com, opt in to watch that video, and then you will get emails about our Substack. So you can join us over there and we can continue the conversation. I love doing this. I love talking to you all, even though I don't see you. But we can actually go a little deeper on the Substack, which is a place where articles, videos, conversations happen. So that's where I would love for you guys to end up following this pep talk. All right. So we want to make sure that we're able to notify you. And last but not least, of course, our YouTube channel. We want to continue to grow the channel and bring people here that need to hear our message. So please like this video, subscribe to our channel if you have not already, and share this video with somebody else that needs to hear it as well. So there's our YouTube, youtube.com/@productive-environment, or you could just go to YouTube and search productive environment and we should come up. Okay. Thanks for joining in. I look forward to our continued conversation over on Substack later this week. All right. Thanks, guys. See you next time.